This is KMB Radio. I am your host, Ben Meyer, and we are here with Harold Innis.
It's great to be here.
Great to have you. Why are you here with us today?
Well, Ben, thanks for having me on the show. I'd just like to start off with that.
No worries.
It's fantastic to be here.
It's
really
great to have you.
Thanks. And I'd like to talk about my passion in life today, the bias of communication.
Can you elaborate to our listeners?
Why, yes, actually, I can. You know, the bias of communication, in my findings, I have seen that in any given media, there is a distinct bias towards either time or space in how the media is most effectively used, or the medium, excuse me.
Can you please elaborate for our listeners on what that means?
Well, if something is biased towards time, that means it's designed to last for a really long time. So the ancient hieroglyphics carved into stone, those are going to last for ever and ever. So that has a very strong time bias. Now, something with a space bias is designed for wide distribution across a large distance. So something like newspaper.
Our radio station!
Our radio station is very space biased because it reaches a large group of people very quickly.
That is so awesome.
It really is, Ben.
So does that mean if something's time biased that it can't be space biased?
You know, that's a great question, Ben. Thanks for asking that. It actually works on sort of a continuum, where any given medium can be placed anywhere between time and space. So if you have something like stone tablets, that's going to be way at the time end of the spectrum, and something like newspaper is going to be way at the space end of the spectrum. And then we have more current and up-to-date modern media like the internet, and that has provided a bit of a conundrum as to where to put it on this continuum. Some argue that it should be in the middle because it's definitely space-related, but also stores information for a long period of time, while others argue that it should be on the far space end of the spectrum because it spreads information so quickly and so effectively to such a large area.
If you decided to give the US a bias, what would it be?
I would say that overall, the United States is space biased because there is a large focus on getting information out to as many people and to as quickly as possible. You know, we don't have a lot of things written in stone. One of the most important documents of this nation, the Constitution, is not in fact written on paper like so much of our other current events and news. It's actually written on animal hide, which is probably the most durable and long-lasting material they had during the time that it was created. So overall, I'd say that US is quite space biased. Now, I think we should go back, as a culture and as a world, we should go back to the time bias. I think that's absolutely a better way of working with things, and it really forces you to think about your ideas and make sure they're worthwhile enough that they will stand the test of time and be remembered through the ages.
Thank you, Harold Innis, for stopping in and talking to us listeners.
It's been a pleasure.
That's all that we have time for. Good night and good night.